This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. Yahweh is the name who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai's sake. I'm Brother Samak from the GMS Miami camp. And yes, the reason why I brought out the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verse 5, is that the plagues are coming to the world, all right, via this war that's imminent, okay? And many nations are going to be affected by it, including China, all right? In fact, because China's going to be affected by it, the world's going to be affected by it because China is a major exporter of their goods to the whole world. Okay? And in order for China to export their goods, they need energy, more specifically, oil. And the bulk of the oil that they receive comes from Iran. In fact, thanks to Google AI, which really thanks to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, all right, for putting the spirit on these devils to put this up here for us, all right, so we can really see how the Lord is moving, okay? And we can clearly see that these prophecies are popping off like popcorn. It's like a pop-up book. I got that from my beloved brother Ash from Tampa. I remember he was the first one to say it. He's like, yeah, the prophecies are like a pop-up book. Yeah. So as you can see, from the Google AI, I asked, okay, is China the number one country to import oil from Iran? Yes, China is by far the number one importer of oil from Iran, purchasing over 80% of Iran's total crude oil exports. Okay? So this war that's coming, and it is coming, all right, is going to affect, okay, China, which is going to affect the whole world. And that's why I brought out 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verse 5. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world. The world, okay? This is going to affect everyone. This imminent war that's coming, and it is coming. Oh, let me show you this, and then we're going to finish. Well, let me finish this. Let the scripture come out. The sword, famine, death, and destruction. And war can bring all this. Facts, okay? Do some research on different wars and how it affected the people, okay? Especially when it comes to starving. Now, let me show you this right here. I asked, how many countries have evacuated their personnel from the Middle East? As of February 27, 2026, over 20 countries are taking measures to evacuate citizens or diplomats from the Middle East, particularly Iran and the statehood of the JJs, amid intense regional tensions and air combat. Major evacuations or partial embassy staff withdrawals have been ordered by the US, UK, China, France, Australia, India, Poland, Sweden, and others like Russia, North Korea, okay? And here's the list, okay? All right. And I've been waiting for this. Bahrain and Kuwait and the UAE. So this is confirmation that this war is imminent. Okay? And again, it's looking like that war is going to kick off on the total lunar eclipse blood moon, all right, which is Purim, okay, because this total lunar eclipse, this blood moon fell on Purim, all right. So this is all spiritual, all right. So yeah. So let's continue on. Why is the Lord going to bring the sword, famine, death, destruction on the world? Check it out. 6. Because the Lord doesn't do things because it's fun, okay? Because he's just sick and demented like you Edomites. You so-called white people, you do shit because it's you get a kick out of it. No, the Lord does this, all right, for punishment because of what's going on the earth, all right, the mismanagement that's going on the earth. And you're going to see right here, verse 6. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the whole earth. That's why the Lord is bringing the sword, famine, death, and destruction through this conflict, this war that's coming, that's imminent. Okay? Yeah. Because you have sickos and weirdos and freaks and Satanists running the world. Okay? That's why the Lord is going to make sure that this war kicks off. All right? And it's going to affect everyone. And their hurtful works are fulfilled. 7. Therefore saith the Lord. 8. I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. You see that? Okay? That's why the Lord's bringing it. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me. And who's this talking about? Okay, let's get a precept. Milk scripture. Right here. Ezekiel 9 and 4. And the Lord said unto me, go through the midst of the city. All right, and he's talking to the angels. Through the midst of Jerusalem. All right. Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. And set a mark upon the foreheads of the men, which are Israelites, of the elect, that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. Okay? So that's, okay, who's crying. All right? That's who the innocent is. Okay? The elect. They're sighing and crying of all the abominations thereof. Okay? The poison in the food, the poison in the air, the sick, twisted freaks that run the world, the elites, these secret societies, what they call themselves, they call themselves by various secret society names, but overall, Illuminati, right? Okay? And they are predominantly made up of Edomites, so-called white people, whether they want to call themselves American, European, okay, JJ 1948 or small hats, okay. Because what they're doing is an abomination. So yeah, so these are. So let's go back. Hold on. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. You see that? And the souls of the just complain continually. Okay? So, the Lord is hearing our complaints, our prayers. And that's why you're going to have war. That's why you're going to have famine, death, and destruction. Because the Lord's bringing it. Because he's hearing our cries. Okay? He's hearing our prayers. All right? Every time we put up these videos, it's us complaining. All right? It's us crying out. You got pedos and cannibals running the government. And I'm talking about America, but it's everywhere. All right, these Chinese, they're into that shit too. All right, the Europeans, they're into that shit too. All these elites are into that shit, man. Okay, the elites of that run the countries, that run the governments. Okay, they're into that shit. That's why I war through war. All right. Let me get this too, because this article is focused on China, and this is judgment to these Moabites, because they're gonna feel it, okay? Because they need Iranian oil, and when Iran, all right, gets into this war with America and them JJs, all right, the Strait of Hormuz, all right, it's gonna be closed. Oil's not gonna be coming out, all right, on the regular, and it's going to affect China. And by the way, this is America's way of attempting or trying to contain China, and China's going to feel it too. Okay, that's another reason why they want a war with Iran, to contain China. Okay, because they know China needs Iranian oil. So yeah, it's all set up because this is the will of the Lord. Second Esdras chapter 15 verse 46. And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person. Right, the Chinese want to be like Americans, okay? Look at Hong Kong. That's a great example. Hong Kong is America. It's just their language is Mandarin for the most part. Straight up. If you go to Hong Kong, you would think you were in like New York City or Miami or LA, okay? 47. Woe be unto thee, right, death and destruction, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee, right? Okay? You got a lot of these Asian women, all right, they have bleached their skin white. Let me show you something, okay? Because again, a lot of these Asian women want to be Caucasian, and they want a so-called white boy, an Edomite. Okay, Asian women from China. Check this out. Let me show you the images. Okay, there you go. Okay, they want to be like this one. They want to be Edomites. Okay, light skin. All right. Okay. Or let me do it this way. Asian women. Wait, let's do it this way. Chinese models. There you go. Because this is, there you go. This is it. Chinese women model. I don't want to see no fucking Moabite men. I want to see Chinese women models. Here we go. So there you go. They all want to be light skinned. They all want to be an Edomite. Okay. And they want to be like the Edomite woman. And there are a lot of them are whores and sluts, thanks to America, Babylon. Okay. All right. Look at this shit. Look at this. Like, what the fuck is this? But yeah. All right. So yeah, the prophecies are speaking. So don't, hey, it's all right. You know, when us Israelites get back in power, all right, you Moabite women are gonna be wanting to be like us, okay? All right, and I'll be getting a lot of Moabite women, because you know I got a thing for Moabite women, Asian women in general. But anyway, that's between me and the brothers. So yeah, continuing on. Which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee. 48. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore saith God. 49. I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction. That right. So this war is going to affect China too. Okay? That's why everything is going to go nuclear. All right? Because China's going to feel this too. So yeah, so let's read this article. All right, the Lord willing, this edifying. By the way, I'll bring this out too. Economic crisis can occur if the Strait of Hormuz is closed. I just write that in. A closure of the Strait of Hormuz is a crucial choke point handling 20% of global oil and gas would trigger a severe economic crisis by causing oil prices to surge, which will affect China, likely over 100 to 160 per barrel. It would cause rampant global inflation, disrupt trade, severely impact Asian economies, especially China, and potentially cause economic contraction in the Eurozone, right? And this is going to make the Europeans hate America even more, all right? The beast shall hate the whore. See, this war in the Middle East has to happen so prophecy can just, okay, start speeding up. Yeah. So now let's get into this article. Why an Iran crisis hits China first. Beijing's significant oil imports means an attack on Tehran can be used as an indirect means of containment, right, to contain China. That's what America's goal is, all right? They want to contain China through this Iranian war. That's how you know this war is coming. It's inevitable, all right? The prospect of a war against Iran is often discussed as a regional contingency tied to the Gulf, the JJs, and the architecture of deterrence in the so-called Middle East, West Asia. Yet the deeper logic that makes the Iranian situation persistently explosive is a global rather than purely regional. Iran sits where energy markets, maritime choke points, sanctions enforcement, and a competing connectivity projects overlap. And that overlap intersects directly with the strategic competition between the United States, Babylon, and China, the Moabites. In this sense, the possibility of military escalation against Iran can be read not only as an attempt to reshape West Asia, but also as a geopolitical instrument that can constrain China by raising the cost of its growth model, destabilizing critical segment of its import portfolio, like oil, and forcing Beijing to invest more resources into risk management instead of development priorities. Okay? So I'm assuming that that's probably going to be the crypto blockchain technology, all right? Because that's the only right now as a risk, and risk management. You know, hold on. What is considered? Let me make sure I'm correct on this. What is considered risk? Considered risk management. Risk management is a systematic process identifying, assessing, and controlling potential threats, uncertainties, or hazards that could negatively impact on organizations' objective assets, or in the case of U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, public health. It involves proactively analyzing risk likelihood and impact to develop strategies such as avoidance, mitigation, sharing, or acceptance that reduce exposure to an acceptable level, right? Okay. So less dependence on oil, more dependence on electricity, energy. Okay. Let me do it this way. If China experiences an oil supply shock in terms of shortage, what risk management will they seek to offset the exposure? To offset an oil supply shortage, China utilized a multi-layer risk management strategy, primarily involving the release of massive strategic petroleum reserves, okay, shift imports to alternative supplies like Russia, which is needed. Yeah, Russia will want that. Can't go to Venezuela, so it's going to even bring Russia and China even closer together, and accelerate domestic product. Okay. Rapid expansion renewable energy like solar wind. Okay. Accelerating investment in domestic exploration. Okay. So that's what they'll be doing. So that's what they're going to have to do. Or they could say, we're going to take Venezuela back. That'll be spicy. All right. All right. So it's not crypto, okay, which they are using crypto, but it's more of going to other countries, and of course, renewable energy, which that's what the United Nations, the New World Order wants. All right, the sustainability by 2030. All right, they don't want many people dependent. They don't want people dependent on oil as much. So yeah, okay, there you go. So that's so look, you just learned something. I just learned something. All right. So a central premise of contemporary great power rivalry is that the decisive battles may not be fought through direct confrontation in East Asia, but through control over the systematic conditions under which China can sustain industrial expansion. Oil, shipping, and financial access remains among those conditions. China is a structural net importer of hydrocarbons and as a manufacturing and logistics ecosystem is sensitive to fluctuations in energy prices and to disruptions along maritime routes. Yeah, again, it's going to affect the whole world. Okay, Iran matters because its influence both as a state whose geography and capabilities can affect the security of the Strait of Hormuz and the adjacent waters. Even when no missiles fire, the mere perception that shipping could be threatened is enough to inflate insurance premium and to alter freight rates, and that translates into a broader inflationary impulse for energy intensive economies, right? The prices go up. That's inflation. Okay? And you can read this. Basically, they're going into the oil. Everything goes up. The choke points, the Strait of Hormuz is important. If that gets affected, all right, insurance, shipping, schedules, and willingness to cruise or transit, a danger zone, are all elastic. Yep. So again, prices are going to go up. Famine, all right, cost of living, everything. Okay. Yeah. This, you know, but hey, this is all necessary. If you want people to bend the knee and take the RFID chip to market a beast, you got to make life hell, right? Right? So, Revelation 9 and 14, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates, right? And the Lord is commanding the angels to stir up that region, all right, so prophecy can be fulfilled, all right? This is the fact. And there's going to be a lot of casualties, a lot of death, a lot of famine, all right? Because this is the will of the Lord. And I'll close out with this. Job chapter 5, and I'm going to start at 17. Behold, happy is the man that the Most High correcteth, right? And the reason why I'm bringing this out, because, you know, you want to be corrected now, all right? You don't want no part, you don't want no part, all right, in famine, destruction, death, and the sword. So you want to be corrected now by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Therefore despise not thou the chastening of the Almighty, right? Okay? 18, for he maketh sore and bindeth up, he woundeth and his hands make hold, right? And the Lord is making us hold with this word, okay? And we're changing our ways. We're staying spiritual, not carnal. A lot of people about to get carnal when things get expensive, all right? And things get uncomfortable, all right? And if you call yourself a seer, a prophet, you should have known that things were going to get uncomfortable. You've been saying it. Oh, hell's going to break loose. Everything's going to get expensive. Yet, okay, you didn't think that you were going to have to endure that too? Of course. All right, that's why you should be moving responsibly, not irresponsibly. And you're gonna see a lot of Jake fall out of the truth because it's gonna get uncomfortable. All right, and they weren't preparing their mind for this. 19, he shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. Right, because the evil's not going to touch the elect. Evil means bad times. 20, in famine he shall redeem thee from death, and in war from the power of the sword. Do you see how war and famine, are correlated? You can't have one without the other. It's just a fact. Okay? Even when the Lord brings the famine, all right, he's at war with the inhabitants. When he brings a drought, that's warfare. When he brings a hurricane, that's war. That's the Lord's, all right, saying, I want to use weather warfare. Okay? And then the Lord's, in this case, what we're with this lesson, I'm going to use this war in the so-called Middle East to bring in famine and death. Okay? And as well as the sword. 20, thou shalt be hid from the scourge of the tongue, neither shalt thou be afraid of the destruction when it cometh. Right. And you don't want to, yes, we are in this flesh. All right. However, you're supposed to lean upon the Lord. All right. Trust in the Lord. If you're nervous and scared, because you have a wife and children, all right, that's when you need to more lean on the Lord, not, lose it, okay? And again, you got to count the cost, man. The days of, on the streets, cursing out Esau, Edom, or, just yelling, telling people they're going to be judged, all right? That's coming to an end, okay? We're going to have to, go through this gauntlet too. Through much tribulation shall ye enter to the kingdom of heaven. All right. Now, of course, if you're doing the right thing, all right, the Lord going to guide you. But you can't be afraid, man. Okay. That's why the elect are going to stand out. The elect are going to stand out because the Lord's going to put a heavy spirit on them that they will never be. They won't be afraid, or they won't. Lose faith, all right? Because fear is always going to be there. Your fear is actually healthy. It keeps you in the pocket. 22, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. Now you notice how destruction and famine is also associated with the beasts of the earth, because when there's a famine, that means the animals are going to be very hungry, okay? All right? Because where's the wildlife? And that means the animals are going to go after the humans. All right? So, hey, we're in these times. All right? It's not a time to be weak, in the mind. There's not a time to be a lion in your household because your own insecurities. This is a time to have confidence in Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So, Lord willing, this is edifying. Hey, the Lord is moving the chess, the chess pieces. Okay, because this ain't checkers, this is chess. All right. Clearly the Lord's going to be, all right, using this war to judge the world. And it's necessary for prophecy to be fulfilled. And it's necessary, all right, for people to be judged, as well as the elect to shine, because the Lord is going to have his elect shine through all this. A man is going to be more precious than fine, right? What is it? More precious, right? Isaiah 13. Excuse me. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 12. I will make a man, an Israelite man of the elect, more precious than fine gold. even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Right. And this is clearly talking about America. Babylon the Great, Ophir. Okay. So, yeah. So the elect are going to shine while people are panicking and losing it. All right. So, Lord willing, is us edifying. I want to give all praise and all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Makakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who grew well and taught us this truth. They are the true teachers for the nation of Israel on earth today. And salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth and risking their life for Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai's sake. Love you, brothers. Keep it in the word, keep the faith, keep pushing, keep fighting, keep studying. Pray without ceasing. Pray for each other. Pray for the apostle elders. We're almost out of here. For the futures that are watching, keep studying. And when you pray, Chad, cover Shalom.